relatable conversations on living your best life. Welcome to the Konse podcast. Yes, sir. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Konse podcast, your step-by-step guide on how to live your best life. And today is going to be a special episode because it's an episode that's going to be promoting an upcoming event on the 30th of March. This event is called Creators Connect. And if you are a content creator of any sort, podcaster, YouTuber, social media influencer, whatever you do that falls under the bracket of content creation, you will want to watch this episode because you're going to get a lot of insight on what this event is, what it aims to do, and how much of benefit it will be for you if you get a ticket and come through. To start with, this event is actually special to me because it's actually the event where I got to meet my producer, Mwape, shouts out to you, as well as so many people who've been guests on this podcast. So it really acted as a platform on which I really went full into this journey as a podcaster. Those of you that have been with the Konse podcast in the very beginning will remember that this podcast wasn't always on YouTube. It was in audio format, and it had been in audio format even at the time that I was doing the content, even at the time that we came to the event. So it was only after that I got to have discussions with Mwape where then I made the bold decision to go onto YouTube. So a lot of the growth that has happened between then, I owe to this event and the host of the event and the founder and organizer of this event. And he's our guest today. This lad is an amazing lad. And the reason I'm saying amazing lad is because I'm trying to keep up with his accent. It's one of them things.
You didn't even
I'm
try
trying,
to turn the accent.
I'm trying to put in that British thing.
Amazing lad.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as British as you in it.
It's getting there.
I love it. I'm gonna enjoy this episode. Yeah. So today's episode is going to be very, very interesting. If you're a content creator, you're gonna enjoy this episode. Please stick with us. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Nyiwa.
Yes, sir. We have sound effects.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, no, thanks for that intro, man. So, I think the whole purpose of those events are to inspire and ignite things within people that might need that environment, So I'm happy that we were able to.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad,
because it's bigger than just saying it's about me. It's bigger than So to be able to see
to be honest,
the after effects.
I really have to give you your flowers for it because, like I said, this is the Creators Connect was a platform for me. It wasn't just like a platform. It was like a launching pad.
Nice
for me to bring the Konse podcast to where it is. And I feel like that indirectly means that you had a great hand to play in the growth of the podcast.
Oh, shout out, man.
As to what it is today. So I need to give you your flowers.
Hey, man, we give all the glory to God, man.
Amen.
This is beyond me, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's an instrument. Everyone's used as a tool to get things moving in other ways. But,
Definitely.
I can't say and say it's me. But, shout out to God for making that happen. Shout out to you for starting, man.
Come on.
Congratulations, man. Shout out to you for starting and actually being on that path, man. Because, it takes a lot of fearlessness to move in a direction that you want to move into.
It really does.
Forget the noise and just take that leap of faith, So shout out to you for taking the leap of faith, man,
Appreciate it. Yeah. And I couldn't have said it any better myself. So now, before we even get to Creators Connect and what it aims to do, I want to know briefly about you, because in as much as we've been conversing ever since then, and you've gone to be a really, really fun guy and colleague of mine, there's really not much that I know about you. And that's interesting to me, because we've known each other from 2020, end of 2022, I believe. Yeah. That was the last time we had Creators Connect, so end of 2022. So it's been like a good on a year. And there's not much that I know about you. So in a brief way, who is Nyiwa? And more to the point, why venture into this um movement of connecting content creators.
Who is Nyiwa? Oh man, do I keep it humble or do
I man
find the balance too? No, I'm joking.
I always say living your best life. Part of living your best life is flexing some of the best parts of it.
Look, man, Nyiwa, I would say I'm a catalyst. I'm a creative catalyst. I'm a creative director. Started off as a filmmaker.
Nice.
A photographer even, and then it went into film. So I was doing photography, went on to film. From film, I didn't even realize I was doing marketing. So I was there doing marketing without me knowing what it was until someone said you're doing marketing, and I'm like, oh, I am doing marketing. Changed the gears a little bit. Now we're doing marketing, and then from there I was doing other things I didn't know I was doing. So then now, when that palette of experience increases based on me just trying to be in the industry as a filmmaker or running around with like artists, touring with them, it became bigger, and then my perspective kind of like expanded to a point where I'm like, okay, let me actually start looking at this properly. So from there, I was able to see a lot of things. I've kind of like taken in a lot of like knowledge from people that have been around me, and I think it's allowed me to kind of have a broad perspective on the game, not just in the UK, South Africa, here, a little bit in LA. So when that kind of ties back into who I am, I would say I'm just a sponge of the environment and the things that I've been through, man. And sometimes you have to squeeze that out. And
sponge of the environment. I like that analogy.
So for me, it's like the reason why I even started this is because when I started getting into my bag of traveling, I was trying to find events like that, right? So I'd always go to like networking events, even if I pull up on my own. Like sometimes I'll just pull up trying to see what's what, you know, and I'm trying to figure out where the vibe is, where the energy is, and then sometimes I'll find these events online or come across a few on Instagram. I pull up, have a conversation with this person, have a conversation with that person, and then you figure out where your understanding of this environment is gonna go. So then I'm like, yo, man, every time I go somewhere, I can't find that event that I'm looking for. Let me try.
So you saw a gap in the market.
Yeah, I'm like, let me try, see if I can create an environment where I can bring my friends over. They're creatives. Oh, bring your creative friends. Let's have drinks. Let's watch some screenings as we're doing this. So the first event that I ever did, we hired out a gallery in the UK, in London, you know, Gallery Different. We done our first event at Gallery Different in Tottenham Court Road, and then that one we were screening. So I shot a few like music videos, and then I shot an advert, for my friend Missy, and then I'm like, yo, man, we need to figure out a way for us to consume this in a very friendly, creative way. So we hired out Gallery Different, done a ticketed thing. We invited our friends, we invited our creatives, had drinks, we're watching videos, and we at the time, I think we're ahead of our time. I was ahead of my time, so we were watching the videos through Oculus VR lenses. This is like 2017, 2018, right? So we're doing a screening, projector vibes, and then obviously we had some of the videos on the Oculus VR situations.
That is crazy.
Watching videos. So yeah, that's the vibe, and then from there I'm like, this is something that I want to do in other countries. Right?
That's brilliant.
So then now it's like, all right, cool. Travel to SA. I want to do this in South Africa in Joburg because I still couldn't find that event there. And then from there, bro, it just became a thing where it's like, yeah, no, let's make this happen because I want to know who the creatives are, who the business owners are. And at the time, I was very like black owned. I want to find the black owned businesses in every single place that I go to. And yeah, I would start hitting people up myself on Instagram and trying to set up like link ups and that with them.
Nice.
But rather,
you strike me as someone who is very passionate about networking, and that's something that we share because I also like to network with people. I like to build relationships with people because I think you never know what benefit you can get from someone, you know? And that's not to say they don't have to be friends, but like you never know where value lies. And because you never know where value lies, I'm always actively looking for opportunities or situations where I can gain value for growth because I'm very passionate about growth as a person, career-wise, content creation-wise, and so on and so forth. So I love that you brought that up. So now, what was the fascination with content creators specifically? Like, was it for the sake of looking for a way of diverging into a new market? Because you did mention that you were in filmmaking, video shooting, and stuff like that. So I'd assume that you'd ideally or typically look for networking events that are tailored to that profession.
Yeah.
So now, why the fascination with content creation in general?
That's me.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. I started with myself. Like, obviously at the time I'm meeting videographers in the UK, and then they'll tell me, yeah, they use this camera. Then I'll watch their stuff, and I'm like, you used what camera for that? Right. Just me. Like,
yeah.
How did you? And then from there, it's like, oh, this guy's now signed as a director.
Nice.
How
does that happen?
Right. So now I started with myself, right? So then, as I'm saying, I started off as a photographer. So when I started to, now I'm in marketing.
Yes.
So now I'm like, okay, I need to know who people are in marketing and what they're doing, and how they're doing what they're doing. And then now it became business. It's like, okay, how are the production companies running creatives? How are they benefiting off of creatives? Yeah. And now you start listening to production company owners. I'm interning there. I'm looking at this. I'm seeing a production company give out £1 million invoices for a helicopter, and I'm like, how?
How are you doing that?
Like, what's happening here? I need to deeply right? So then, when I start looking at that, then it becomes a thing where it's like, okay, knowledge is there, but sometimes you have to go get it. But in going to get it, sometimes that run is far. It is. Rather create an environment where all of that's gonna happen. You know, so for me, the networking thing came from me looking at myself. It's like, oh, I want to know what other people are doing and how they're getting to where they're getting. He's doing content creation, but he doesn't film. Someone else films his stuff for him. Yeah, he's a personality, and then now you start looking at like. For me, I don't know, at the time, was it like 2012, 30? Yeah. You're looking at people that are just starting that thing, and you're saying, okay, so how are you a content creator doing that, but you're not creating? Then you are a personality, and then the personality thing started, and then this person's a personality, and then from there it became influencers. I don't know how it changed from
the wording,
personality
to influencer. I get you.
Not everyone who's an influencer is really influencing, if we're going to keep it real. So
yeah, you're right.
It was personalities at the time, like social media personality.
Yeah, social media personality.
And now, obviously, when you fast forward, I'm like, okay, the reason why it's the passion starts from there, because that's where the root is. That's where the seed of the garden was the content creation, which I am, which was a filmmaker at the time. Running around trying to film stuff, trying to create a blog for all my stuff to be on. At the time, I didn't even know how to make the website. They're trying to just put stuff together so you can have a place to. I can relate. To have your videos, just so I can relate. You know? So we're just running around doing this thing, but then sometimes it's like there's a website developer who would come and say, "Oh, I'll do this," and then nice. Oh, you need to structure your thing this way. Oh, you need a bio. Oh, you separate fashion to documentary, and I'm like, oh. And then now as that goes on, you say, okay, the knowledge is there, but we need to create spaces for it to be accessible. So you strike me as someone who's been privileged enough to have such opportunities. And so now my next question is, was it hard for you to get those opportunities that you got, and would you say that played a part as a motivating factor for you to want to create an environment where people are able to more or less create their own opportunities through these networking events? Yeah, man, it was hard, but it's not. I don't think I knew that this is what I'm doing when I was doing it. Okay. I just had faith, and I had desire to be where I wanted to be. Right? Nice. I picked up a camera. Okay, so if I'm gonna reverse, I was studying physics, chemistry, biology, and then that was applied science, so it counted as 2. And then I was doing media and psychology on the side. Nice, right? So I'd go into science, and then it's like, this is what we're go do. Yeah. And I'd always wait for it to end so I can rush and go to media. I hear you. And psychology. Yeah. And then after I'm like, no, this ain't life, bro. Let me focus on this thing. So then every time I was in media, I'm like, yo, it's easy. Not easy, but like this is what I'm doing. This is what I like. I naturally I didn't even know I was a creative until then.
I like that you brought that up because I feel like one thing that people tend to oversee is that anything that you do in life is going to be hard, right? Yeah. But if you're doing something that you're passionate about,
it's not hard.
It doesn't feel as hard as it is.
Yeah, so then if you mix that with passion, desire, right? So then now, say my passion's ignited. Yeah. We're creating film posters. We're creating scripts. Creating stories. I'm like, this is it.
This was.
And then I'm doing psychology at the same time. I'm always interested in that aspect of life. So I'm like, this is what I want to do. Now I left all of that. So then I said I left. So then I left and I was like, yeah, no, this is where I want to be and this is what I want to focus on. So when I'd gone and done media, that's when I was like, okay, I like this. And then I was doing photography. I'm like, I like this compositions and shit. All right, cool. And then I wanted to see things move. So I went on to video. Yeah. Obviously, if you watch some of my first videos, it's like, yo. But then you can still see that, yeah, this is the creme de la creme is there. Yeah. But it just needed to be refined. I needed to shine that diamond a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then I put myself in spaces where I became so passionate. I started reaching out to internship, to production companies, people that were doing the things that I want to do. I started reaching out to them. And then when I started putting myself in those spaces, that's when I said, okay, all right, cool. What's the top here? What's the highest? I want to be signed as a director. I want to be traveling as a director. I want to be doing this as a director. I wanted to be signed to an agency at the time that was doing music videos that I loved. But then when I became the guy that I was becoming, I realized that I was already doing it my way, and then the more I would do stuff, the more people would call me. And then when I set up my little blog, and people would see stuff, they would start calling me for work. You didn't just come do a photo shoot here, video here, and then before I knew it, I'm in an environment, and it took me a while to look around the environment I was in. So by the time I looked around, I'm like, oh shit, this is dope. Like I'm on a big stage right now, and this is what I'm doing, and I'm holding the camera. That is dope. And then now that's when that light goes on, and it's like, oh, I need to make use of this environment. Like the camera brought me here without it being a thing where I was thinking I'm trying to get here. I was just doing it. Fashion week, I'm in Fashion week. I'm here. I'm doing Paris, and then we're in Dolce, and then things were just coming without me thinking that I'm trying to go to Dolce and Gabbana and film them and meet them, and I didn't know that was gonna happen, but it was happening through me just filming and being tight at what I do and doing what I love and creating and making sure that shit looks sexy and sounds sexy. So in a way, it's like what I was doing with videos is what I'm doing now with the Creators Connect, which is I'm creating videos that I wanted to see, but then I would apply that to the clients or whatever, and then obviously they'll love the shit. So it's like, yo, and then from there it's just bouncing, and then this client's connected to that, and then they see that shit, and then now when it gets to that point where it's like, okay, hold on a second. We need to start figuring out what's going on here, because now we have something.
And you always know when we have something. Like there's always that moment where you're just like, I think we got something.
Yeah, I think we've got something. And I'll say it was in a way the hardest thing was to like turn it into a business. Because you're creators, creators can live their whole life just sitting down creating.
Not really bringing them much.
Like they can do that. Like as a creative, the difficult thing is that you have to find people. If you're not that person already as a creative, you have to find people that will look at you throwing paint on the wall and it just looks so dope. You have to find people that will come to you and say, hey, I can make you some money.
In other words, basically, it's easy to create, but it's hard to make money from your creative.
It's hard to create because if you're creative, you're a creative. Yeah. It's hard to become a creative if you're not already a creative. Right, so if you're seeing like let's just say Basquiat, he's in a zone, whatever, doing his stuff. You can't look at him and say this is easy, but then you can't look at him and say this is hard, because he just did it. He just is. You don't look at a bird and say, yo, flying looks difficult. That's just innately what's in it. It just flies, right? So now when the bird's flying in an environment where it's worldly, you have to figure out how to maneuver. Because now, as a creative, you can't be 8 years old just Because then now it's like, okay, bro, you need to go eat, man.
Sure. Eventually.
Like we need to go eat. We need to. Your art can make money, you know. So then for me, for a long time, I was just creating for the laugh, but which is cool. But at the same time, yeah, I forgot to not forgot, but like I didn't take in the changes of my environments. But it's only when I was like, wait, we have something here. Now we need to look at ourselves or myself as a business now. You know? So then how do I differentiate the art, the business, and I still want to be able to create without having to feel like I'm creating just for money. But then at the same time, maybe I should start like a platform or a business that I can have people hire me for to do certain things. And then that's how I split it, done that and doing this. And then it just goes into other things, doing campaigns. You know, it's like sometimes a company would ask you, "Oh, we want a video, but then we want our video to communicate to and then I'm just doing it as a videographer, and then you're adding some marketing stuff on that. But then after a while, you meet people that are doing just that without doing the videos, and they're making money. I'm like, wait, you're making money by doing this thing that I already do with the videos? Oh yeah, it's called marketing, mate. And then in marketing, you know, you do it's a career. Oh, shit, it's marketing. I'm separate. Now we go back to the business and we separate videos and marketing, right? And then now we use the videos to do the marketing, and we use the marketing to get the videos. So then now, when you start to cook, you understand that there's different ingredients for different things. But sometimes someone might pull up and they don't know what they want to eat, and you can just say to them, "Yeah, we got both," and then you sell them both. But you know, as it goes on, it's hard to go on after you realize that you have to mix business with love. Now it's like if you'd have like a perfect life, yeah, you'd be a creative, and then you'd just be making money every time you create, without you having to think about no one coming in, manager coming in, agent coming in. We need our this is what our KPIs are. This is these are what our targets are for this month. The client wants this, and then you're sitting there thinking about the client, thinking about that. And when you're in the zone, it takes you 5 days, a week to get in the zone, a month. Some people, sometimes you have to do drugs to get in the zone for some people. So as a creative, you have to understand that you are your own instrument, and you have to be able to separate your business situation with your own love interest. And that's the difficult thing. It gets harder because now when you become an instrument, you have to, it's like you're fighting two different things. And then the creatives are going crazy. You know, I don't even know if we got space for the whole creatives and going crazy and mental health around creatives because it's a lot. Like they are like very open to like mental illnesses. If you're not careful as a creative and you don't take time for yourself, you can go down that path. Especially if you're signed to like say like an agency that puts pressure on you every time. It's easy to lose yourself, or it's easy for you to go home and you're not who you think you are as a creative. But hey man, it's they say the game's a game, you know. But don't let the game play you to the point where you forget that you are the instrument of the game.
You have to play the game, not the game playing you.
Mm.
It's true. I love that analogy you brought us a very, very interesting point. So now, before we get into Creators Connect itself,
Yeah.
it's always scary doing something for the first time. And I believe throughout your life you've had to do things for the first time.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone into them, especially when you were starting Creators Connect? Have you ever gone into it thinking or having a certain level of fear of like, what if this doesn't go well?
That's always something you're gonna have whenever you do something. Whenever you start something, whether you're new, whether you've been doing it for a long time, you're always gonna have that aspect of it's like you're fighting the dark. Yeah. It's like,
especially with the fact that it's a content creation networking event.
yeah,
That's something that hasn't been done. Like I said,
yeah,
it's been a gap in the market. So, and I was having this conversation with Joey earlier that a lot of the times, by human nature, sometimes we struggle to adapt to something new.
yeah,
It takes a while for something new to sink in. Because if I'm so used to such and such a thing going a certain way, You introduce something new, it's like, oh, what if it doesn't work?
But it's repetition. Repetition's the father of learning, right? So if you're talking about the fear of doing something for the first time, it's that thing of fight in the dark is you're gonna have your thoughts. It's gonna go bad.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work out. No one's gonna like the project. Why am I even doing this? And then you sit down, and then it's like, no, man, let's go fix this shit, man. What the fuck? Let me go, man. Let me go. Because now when I sit down, it's not gonna happen, right? So then now you have to. I feel like you have to embrace those thoughts as they come, but don't let them sit down next to you, right? Okay, the fear of failure. Oh, is this gonna work out? Okay, cool. Let it come. Take it in. Is this gonna work out? Are people gonna love it? Is it even gonna make a difference? Am I even doing the right thing? Okay, cool. Let it come. Let it go. Now you need to get up and now go do that thing. So that you can tackle. The more you do something, the more those voices disappear, right? So if you're not acting on the idea of that thing that you have, you're gonna have more of the, let's just say, the devil's voice coming in, trying to stop you from going where you want to go. Because the longer you sit around and question yourself too, now you're talking to those voices or that fear that comes, because that fear is gonna come. But now if you sit down and you give yourself that fear, you're not going anywhere, buddy. Or it's gonna be a long road for you. Because sometimes you have to understand that whenever you're starting something new, whenever you're trying to start something that makes you feel nervous, embrace those feelings. We're humans, feel that shit. But then let's move, let's move in it.
Is that how you deal with the fear of failure?
That's how I deal with the fear of failure. Because like fear of failure, yeah. If you really look at fear of failure, what's failure? What's failure? If you really look at failure, what's failure? For me, it's like, For me, failure is like you're looking at this thing and it's telling you you can't get up, and you know you can get up. Because what even is failure? Failure is, I think, the inability to not act upon that thing that you feel you want to do. I don't feel like, say for example, you want to put out an album, right? And then you're afraid of failing. Okay, how are you going to fail? You're only failing if you're going to sit down there and think, I want to do an album. Now you're 60 thinking, I should have done that album. Now you're 80 thinking, why didn't I do that album? Now, had you done that album at 20, by 22, you'd have figured out why it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So then now by 25, if you keep doing that, you're going to be there at 28, like a Super Saiyan type of. I use failures to, but you can't be afraid to fail, especially in public, man. Like sometimes you need to. It's good. It's good because then once you fail publicly, you've gotten rid of everything. All your fears are.
Success is always public, but failure rarely.
Yes, in a way. But then if you speak to that person and ask them, okay, say a singer, they sing and they're successful, they succeed in public. Okay, and let's talk about that time that they were 18 and they were singing and then their voice done. But no one saw. Like the public's the public, but like not a lot of people saw. But to them, that might have been something that would have come in and said, okay, yo, park your stuff. You're not supposed to do this.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Your first podcast. The demons you had to fight just to get that first one. But once you get that first one, second, third, and then now
you start to feel uncomfortable that you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Like the moment you just stop and be like, I remember having a creator's block for a good majority of 2023.
Yeah.
I was posting a lot of videos and felt very uncomfortable, and I was like, this feels odd.
Yeah.
You know that thing where like creator's block where like you want to move forward, but it almost feels like God is telling you, I get that you want to move forward, but
hold on. Yeah. I think even that's a vibe because so if you're looking at it in a way where it's like that, then you have to listen to God and figure out what God's trying to do or say to you. Because sometimes you could be trying to move fast without having the tools that you need for the next level. And one thing with God, God's going to have you come back and redo that thing that you need to do in order to prepare you for the thing that's coming. There's no way you can pull up to battle and you only have a knife and then you're fighting with like people that have been there with swords. They know how to, and then you're sitting there like, God, why did you bring me here? It's like I was trying to stop you. You wanted to, but then there's free will, there's predestiny. Those are different conversations also, but then now I think when it comes to the whole public failure or just even personal failure, you know, I would rather fail to know that I can do this better than to sit down. Because when I do that thing that I've been afraid to do, I sit there and I'm like, why was I afraid to do this? Why did it take me 2 years? I could have done this in a day.
Facts, man.
And then now when you overcome that, it's just different vibes for different things. You know, you conquer one thing, you understand it, you conquer podcasting, you might want to go into business or go into, and then now you have to go back to the first time you made that first episode and think.
And I actually think part of what that does as well to your psyche as a person is it gives you the confidence to try something new again.
Yeah.
Because the more you do it, you're like, if I can try that,
why not give that thing a try? And you know, all we have is time, bro. Like, we don't have enough time to sit around and think about why things won't work. Because then, as I'm saying, when you do it, you realize you waste the time by not doing it and sitting down with those thoughts that come to you that tell you you might not be able to do this, you know? Because at the same time, man, the devil's working and trying to stop you from getting to where you need to get to. You know, but God's voice is gonna come in and very, very, you know, the devil's loud. He's here. You can't make it. You know, no, you know. But you know, it's a battle that you have to understand is also spiritual. It's not just the physical battle, man. This stuff is deep, bro. So when you're battling fear and stuff, you also have to understand that let's maybe seek God, because if I'm getting fear over something that's destined for me to achieve, fear does not come from God. So now we have to understand the word there and figure out the fact that this thing here is anxiety, but fear and anxiety are two different things. Feel the anxiety, but when you feel that fear and you feel like it's not coming from the right place, then yeah, let's go address this. Let's go fast. Let's go cut this out. You know what I mean? Yeah, because at the same time, it's just, you might try to go fast, but then God might need you to just come back and pray and you're not ready. But when you're ready, you'll feel like, oh damn.
And it's always amazing when you attempt something that you want to do. God will always put you in a position where you're either with people or where you have the tools that you need to prepare you for where you want to go.
Yeah.
So if I say I want to be a filmmaker, deliberately you just notice how your life starts to transition into you finding yourself in spaces where the people who are directors, getting internship opportunities, maybe just an opportunity to learn what you need to learn to be the filmmaker you want to be.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened with me, because I don't think I saw the tools being handed to me, but I was put in situations where I had to use tools, or I had to use my tools. I had to fill the wall. I had to, oh damn, this is here. But then by the time I was out, I'm looking at my tools and I'm like, oh, I went through that so I can have these tools to equip me for then now this thing happens and I'm like, oh, you know, the whole Mr. Miyagi thing, and then they try to hit him and he's like, pop, and it's like, oh, you didn't even know you were learning that. that's how that thing works though still. But yeah, that's the vibe there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about Creators Connect itself. You've done it in 3 countries, UK, South Africa, and Ghana. Which one was the first one you did?
In the UK.
How
yeah, the one described earlier, where it was me and my friends. We are putting on some screenings. We've got VR lenses where everyone's watching the videos. It's in a gallery. It went well, you know, and then I think that was the birthing of it. And that was the catalyst of it being like, okay, I'm going to create this thing, and I want to go meet creators in Japan. I want to go meet creators in South Africa. I want to go meet creators in Zambia, where I'm from. And then now let's expand this thing, you know. Previously, the last ones we just did were artistry, and then before that the UK, which is last year. We did one at the Samsung store, you know. So that for me is so for me, that's when I was like, okay, we just did an event at the Samsung store in King's Cross.
That's crazy.
You know, that's a black home, by the way. I'm saying. But so it doesn't happen like that. Like, so for me, when I did that, that's when I was like, oh, okay. Again, that one of those moments where it's like, oh, hold on a second, we have something here. Yeah.
So now, UK, South Africa, Zambia, these are 3 very different markets and dynamic markets in terms of content creation. And so now, out of the three, which one was the easiest to enter and which one was the hardest to enter? And what do you think are the differences you've noticed between the three?
Yeah, I wouldn't say any of them were easy to enter, man, because it's like
Yeah, it's always difficult.
it's like you got
It's always difficult when you try for the
it's
first
like you
time.
got three different girlfriends, man.
Yeah,
This one likes this one likes that, and then this one likes that. They're not all gonna like the same things.
yeah,
But then entry point, what works with you ain't gonna work with her
yeah,
because she's a different type of woman. She likes being in nature. She likes being. But anyway, so I'm saying they're all different markets. They're all different situations. You know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at three different women that I heard you're married to, you know, you have to.
Why you putting my
That's
feelings
what
out
I'm
there,
joking.
man? I get you.
Yeah, you got different type of balance, so they all had their own different challenges. You know, UK has its challenges, South Africa has its challenges, Zambia has its challenges. So I think when you look at that, it's not like they all have their own difficulties.
Yeah,
But if you compare the difference, yeah, there's a difference.
there is a
Like there's a major difference. Obviously, the Zambian industry hasn't gotten to that place where the UK industry's at. Creators here aren't making the same type of money that creators over there are making. Brands here aren't taking creators as seriously as brands over there are taking creators seriously. South Africa's kind of in between. You know, they got their thing sorted out. They got everything patterned. There's an industry.
Yeah.
Things are working. People are becoming millionaires and turning into millionaires from content, from influencing, from marketing, from all of that. You know, brands are looking into like what the creators are doing. There's Instagram personalities making bread, bro. But then you come here.
My follow-up question to that was going to be the reason why I brought up the issue of markets is because understanding the market is understanding what type of service you want to give the market.
Yeah.
So understanding the gap in the market is also understanding the market in the gap. So now, like you put it, these are three different markets, and obviously to have networking events in these type of markets, they have to be tailored to fit that kind of market because the market gap that's in Zambia in terms of content creation is different from the one in UK. It's different from the one in South Africa, so you need to tailor your events to that. So, what would you say, or rather, in fact, before I get to that, how do you manage to tailor your events, your networking events, to fit those individual markets?
Okay, so you want to know how I cook the cake?
Well,
You want to know how I serve the cupcakes and how I package the shit in the back? No, man. Like I think it's just important to know what your environment is based on having your feet on the ground because essentially I can do this without me being in the country.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense. I got to be here. You know, I got to have the conversations. I got to understand who's doing what, and then kind of like humbly allow that to create its own thing. You know, as I said in the beginning, being a catalyst, sometimes you just have to be present in something that is already there in order for it to come together and you understand that this is what the vision needs to be. And then from there, you figure out what type of woman you want to marry.
Right.
Yeah.
So now let's come back to the Zambian context then. Creators Connect, to the best of my knowledge, has happened twice in Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
The first time it happened was very impactful that other companies or other businesses or other, I don't know if you call them organizers, emulated the same idea. And I think, well, it's not the same as what you do because obviously, like I said, the way you cook your cake is different from another person.
Yeah.
They might take the recipe, but they won't have the secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
So now, from a positive standpoint and from maybe a negative standpoint, what is your stance on the fact that there are more of these events happening now? Because I think from one of the positives I've seen of it is that you've opened the door for a market gap that can be invested in, but I don't know if people really have the right tools to make it work.
Look, man. Here's the thing. I could say and come down on like da. But like today's Sunday. Today's Sunday. It's the day of the Lord. So I'll say this, yeah. I do want to get into that though, but they're gonna be dealt with in a way that's not, as I was on Capital yesterday and we're talking about like IP and we're talking about the whole idea of people don't take IP here seriously. People don't take the law here. Well, it's Africa, but in terms business law, right? Business law, serious. So when I pull up and have an IP, and everyone knows that this is an IP, that belongs to me, and the initial idea that I had. Once you know that, and then you go off and you do something similar, I'll clap for you, right? I'm saying, because the whole idea is not about me standing on top of the mountain to say, "Hey, I did this. I created this thing. I'm the guy that did that." Okay, then what? The idea is for me to do something that inspires other people to do other things in relation to that, right? Now, if we're going to move the conversation forward and I see that we inspired movement here, we inspired movement there, bruv, this is the whole vision. Creatives in Zambia are networking, they're collaborating, they're doing their things, events are popping up that are similar. But as I said yesterday, if you're going to do that, at least change the name. At least change the name of what we do. Because now you're going into a territory that's going to allow you and the people that you work with to be a problem. Because now we're going to come at you different.
So
now you're causing confusion. You're causing confusion between the parties. So then now it's deeper than it just being, "Hey, bro, what's up?" And they're little kids. So
instead of collaboration.
Yeah, and these are like little kids, innit? So when I'm trying to chat to them on a serious situation, I still what are you lot doing? They're trying to. It's like, okay, we'll deal with them like as the little kids that they are, right? But I see that you're doing something similar, and I see that you're trying to even run with the same
structure.
So I'm all for that, and I could even pull up to certain events that I like that, because as a creative who's a networker and stuff, I like to be around certain things like that. But I give grace where grace is due. But at the same time, give respect where respect is due. And if you're coming in after somebody who's done something, the least that you can do is understand, not even credit, just understand that if you're gonna come through that door, and you're coming through that door on an arrogance thing and on an ignorance thing, then it will be dealt with that way, and it's not gonna look pretty. Because there's two different options that we can take. We can go this way, or we can make it dirty.
Yeah,
and I think for me, obviously being that I'm not trying to do that for that, I move, whatever happens here or behind me happens. But there's a vision, there's a purpose, there's a destiny. We're moving.
That is true.
We're moving. But there's no time to be trying to hey, you do it, bro. This thing's bigger than me, bro. This thing's bigger than rap. And at the same time, when we're moving towards that destiny and that vision, you can't look around and stop and start looking at someone who's trying to emulate you, that might think that they see where you're trying to go.
What improvements do you think you've seen in the creative industry in Zambia so far? And what do you think we need to work on?
Improvements. I think with improvements, bro, like I think there still needs to be an industry, right? Because
do you think there should be? Sorry, before you even answer a question, I wanted to add something else to that.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a governing body in the creative industry?
There is, but then they also are missing the grounds. You know? They're shooting over there, but then the creatives are over here.
Yeah.
So if they come down, or if the bar is neutral, or there's representatives from here to here, there's representatives from the creative industry bringing what they see and what they learn into government, and then there's people in the government coming up to meet them halfway. I think that's going to be progressive, not only financing creatives or having funds for creatives, but also having that thing within Zambia where you can look at a creative who's coming up and say, okay, let's champion them because they'll be able to have a career. So I think the main idea here is to be able to have a country that's sustainable
Yeah.
for not just creators, because there is power in the influencers and the creatives.
And there is.
And I think it needs to be sustainable enough where once it's championed, people can look at that and say, okay, I can have a career as a filmmaker. I can have a career as an influencer doing this and that. Because there's other places where influencers are doing the same thing that the influencers here are doing. But the only difference is those influencers are buying houses.
Yeah.
They're buying cars. They're traveling. And then you come and you look at the same system.
With the money that they got on YouTube, the same platform you are using
but there's no YouTube here.
Yeah.
Let's start there. YouTube don't pay creators here. There's no system that allows you as a YouTuber to make money. Unless you maybe go register your YouTube in America or the UK or South Africa.
Yeah.
Zambian YouTube creator system is non-existent.
Yeah.
You can have 1 million views as a kid who's doing music in Zambia. You have 10 million views counting, people know who you are, but YouTube ain't paying you because there's no revenue system for YouTube here.
Yeah.
Spotify ain't paying the same.
Yeah.
There's platforms like Boomplay that artists are running to, but that's not paying you the same in the long run, and it stifles you from the rest of the world. So things are moving, but still there's no structure. As you're saying, if government can come, creators can come together and say, all right guys, these are the problems that we're having. And not just have it be a thing where it's like a spin circle again. Yeah, we're having the same conversation, having the same results for 10 years. Yeah. What's happening here, guys?
I hear you, man.
What's happening? Where are the creator funds for creators? Where are the creator awards? You know? It's not about networking only.
True.
Okay, now that we've networked, what are we going to do? What's next? Right? There's a government body right now. There's the new creator policies that have come out. Came out like last week for Zambian creatives. Yeah. And then now the Ministry of Creative Arts is part of the same ministry as youth and sports. Now you think about that, right? Like if that's where the arts is within sports and the youth, now how do you figure out how to separate the creators? Because creators, I feel like needs to be its own thing.
I think so too.
How do we figure out how to separate creative industries and have like a creative ministry so that when we do have conversations and brands are coming in from other countries, we can say this is
our representation.
This is the policy around our creatives, right? Creators first.
Yes.
And then we figure out how you guys are going to do your business.
I like that. Creators first.
Creators first, bro. Like that's a campaign. Yeah. But they don't see it like that. Like if you talk to like an average Zambian parent and you tell them you want to be a creative, they'll look at you like,
where?
Here. Like, what are you doing with your life?
Are you serious?
But at the same time, you can't blame them because who's doing what?
We're molded like this. We've been doing this for so long. Who can you look at and say
they're doing it as an example? Right. Even if we go to like music, arts, there's certain numbers. Yeah. And even if you look at music, most of
your parents will still be hesitant about it because even though it's like, I feel like when it comes to situations like that, it comes back to what we talked about earlier, how adapting to something new is always going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's a great.
And as a youth who's trying to enter the space of being a creative, it really takes a lot to convince your parents to say, this is what I want to do. Even in stuff like sports and music and stuff, it really still takes a lot.
I convinced mine after.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like
I didn't go there and I know what the answer is going to be. Yeah. Hey guys, I want to do film.
You have to do it first.
The agents that are going to come at me before I even start are going to be...
It's even going to demoralize you to continue.
Before you begin, bro. So here, I don't think it's championed enough for you to take that step forward to say, okay, oh, that person is doing that in their career. Oh, so is that. You have a number of people in the creative industry in different fields and in different disciplines that you can look at and say, oh, they're doing it. And under them, 100 other people are doing it. Under him. And then now you have an industry. Now you have a system that has creatives from different disciplines and from different worlds doing things in Zambia. And they're making money. And they have money to show for it.
That is so true. And I couldn't have said it any better myself, man. So now, Creators Connect 2023. First of all...
23? 24?
24, hey.
We 24, baby.
Jesus, we're in the Kobe year.
You better catch up, baby.
We're 24, man. I'm still in the Jordan year.
We over.
Mad.
We over.
Anyway, so Creators Connect 2024.
Yeah.
Last time we had it was in 2022. what can we expect that to be different this year? And what did you learn from the, actually, before you answer that question, what did you learn from the previous Creators Connect that you did? And how are you going to use that to adapt the next one?
I'll use the woman analogy again, right?
Yeah.
So, you meet a woman for the first time and this works, and then she's like, no, that doesn't work. I don't like that. And it's like, oh, damn, she don't like that, but I really want this woman. So then now I'm going to go back and okay, let's get back to the event. So what I'll do, so what happened is the first time we did it, I don't think I was applying essay rhetoric to here. Because I thought South Africa's there, SADC region, everything's the same. So I applied it here. And it didn't work.
It didn't work, yeah.
No, it didn't work.
It didn't work, or it didn't
it didn't work.
The thing that you were expecting.
Fit how I wanted it to fit.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, why didn't that work? It worked over there. And then it's like, no,
new market.
It's a different market. And then now, when I start having conversations with people here, I get why it didn't work.
You get it, yeah.
So then now, I'm like, I understand it a little better now. So then with this, the 30th of March, Creators Connect at the Quorum, different venue, different cast, different panelists, different conversations. We're trying to put on like newcomers, musicians. We're trying to give gallery. We have a gallery space, so we're trying to give artists a space to display their work, business owners to display their work and display their stuff. So. This is also kind of a call out if you see this before the event. If you're an artist, if you have a business that you feel like you want to showcase at the event, bring it, let's showcase that. I think it's a different dynamic in terms of how much is being done for the event. Whereas before, I think we really focused on like maybe two aspects of it. Whereas now it's like, okay, let's broaden up the conversation. We're at the Quorum, we're having conversations with the Quorum. We're at the rooftop now, roof comes off, the Maybach, to the roof of the Maybach, that's you know what I'm saying. So there's different vibes. Obviously, when we've done it at Ciso, it's a restaurant, even burnt down now after we've done that.
Such a shame,
you know what I'm saying? So
such a shame.
Even that's wild.
That's
to
crazy.
Just think about. So the last venue we did it at here, it no longer exists.
That's crazy.
So now
that's how much time has passed. That is crazy.
So then now it's like, no man, we got different venue, we got different conversations. We have a more broader conversation across different industries. We want to bring in gallery feel, gallery vibe to it. We've got fashion designers coming in to showcase their stuff. We've got artists coming in to showcase their stuff. So yeah, it's a different vibe, man. We've got an after party. We've got special guests that we're still gonna announce. So I think by the time this is out, you might have already known who the special guests are gonna be. So it's just a different vibe, man. And obviously, this isn't like the perfected version of what we're going to end up having, but it's a better version of what we had before.
Nice. Yeah. So the long term vision is set. You know what you want to do. So for this one specifically, what's the main goal for this particular one?
We need change. It needs change. We need change. These aren't conversations we're just having, just to have, and then you go home. These are conversations we want to have so we can implement change, right? And we can let people know where we actually are, where we stand as creatives. I'm a creative at heart. So this is for creatives by creatives.
Facts.
So when we're doing this and we're talking how we're talking, I'm not just talking from an outsider that's trying to make money from an event or that's trying to like capitalize off of the situation and just make it about money. For me, let's have a voice.
Yeah.
Let's have conversations that will make change, because that change being better for everybody else here will be a change that will be better for us and the guys behind us.
I hear you.
The other guys behind us, because someone could watch your podcast and they're like, oh man, I want to start a podcast.
Yeah, that's like, how it starts.
And then now they go back to their parents and their parents are like, nope, because what? But now if we have that conversation and then we can hit levels of government to change things, because they have policies, bro. There's policies that are in place. Why can't some of the policies
be enacted
cater to the creative industry here in a way where people will be able to look at it and take it serious?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah, man, at the same time, people do want to take the conversation serious, but what I want to leave from that after that event is, after the conversations I had, there will be certain implementations and action. The call to action is action.
I hear you, man. I hear you. And I'm excited, man. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna buy my ticket. You're definitely gonna see me there, man. It's gonna be an amazing event, bro.
Hey guys, we are back in Lusaka, Zambia for another Creators Connect happening right here at the Quorum on the 30th of March.
If you're a creative, entrepreneur, influencer, or just in the media industry, you're gonna wanna come connect with us on the 30th of March. Bring your friends, bring your homies, tell everybody.
It's going to be a day full of knowledge. We'll be breaking down and discussing our industry, as well as tapping into the tools that we need and require to move forward.
Get your tickets and we'll see you there. Catch us live.
Anytime there's Creators Connect, you know for a fact.
Gonna pull up, you gonna pull up.
You better come. Tickets
guys,
are going
30th of March. Creators Connect at the Quorum. Get your tickets right now. Come and network, come and vibe, come and have conversations with people in the industry, people outside of the industry, creatives that you want to aspire to be like, business owners that you want to aspire to be like. Let's have these conversations that we need to have, and let's listen to the people that have done it.
Yeah, you never know who you might just meet there, man. I got to meet my producer there. I got to meet so many people who've been guests on the show. You just never know with these things, you know.
Oh, amazing, man.
It's crazy, man, and I'm
we love that for you, boy.
Brother, I'm so excited we got to have this conversation.
No, I'm happy you're finding it that happen, man.
It's been amazing. The journey has been amazing. I'm glad I got to learn more about you as a person. I'm glad we got to delve more into this aspect of being a content creator, because the content creation space is yet to reach its booming age. And I feel like if you catch it before that, it's gonna be a whole lot better for content creators.
Zambia's coming.
It's definitely coming. Zambia Kuchalo is more of a movement than people think.
But this Kuchalo, man, I think it's time we bring Kuchalo to Zambia.
Yeah,
because this Zambia Kuchalo thing, let's bring the world
instead
here.
of going to the world. Let's bring the world here.
Let's figure out how we can capitalize off the world being here.
I love that. I love that so much, man, and I'm so excited. Creators Connect, guys. 30th March. Make sure you get your tickets. The links to get your tickets, everything is going to be in the description below. Make sure you check out their Instagram and everything. It's gonna be an amazing event, guys.
Follow
please.
ccnetwork.co on Instagram. That's ccnetwork.co on Instagram. All the details are gonna be there. Personally, you can follow me, Nyiwa _K NYIWA _K on Instagram. All the updates, everything that needs to happen with the event and with the branding. There's a lot more things that are going to happen outside of the event, so follow us, stay up to date. And man, I hope to see you guys there. Let's make this thing happen.
Let's go. Let's do it, brother. Thanks so much for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's big. What's the name? What's the final name of
the podcast?
Not just the podcast, like where you wanna.
Oh, where I'm. Yeah. The aim really is to just hit everywhere and like.
Well, you got like 3 names.
Oh no! Now it's just like the Konse podcast.
The Konse podcast.
Yeah.
Konse podcast to the world. The world to the Konse podcast. This is the future. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody and everyone who you need to know and have conversations with.
You know where it is.
You know the vibes.
You know what it do.
Shout out to Konse podcast for having me, man. Look forward to seeing more of these episodes, man.
Definitely.
So,
definitely.
Peace out, my boy. Fly high.
Yes, sir. And you heard it here first, guys. Remember, if you're a creator, this is an episode you definitely want to watch. Please make sure you buy your tickets. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. For me, shout out to Ziki for hosting us. Shout out to Zaso for the videography. Shout out to Mwape, the producer, Lushomo for the scripts. Guys, nowhere to go but up from here, man. So if you like the episode, please subscribe and share with everybody. We'll see you at Creators Connect. And like I always say, remember to live your best life
forever.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Yes.